So in this class today, we are going to continue with our derivative of logarithmic functions, where we'll solve some more tough questions on logarithmic functions. So if you're just joining this channel, don't forget to subscribe. I drop math tutorial 5 p.m. every day, West African time. So let's get started. So the first question that we have is, if y is equal to log square root of x minus 1, it is bulky, right? Yeah, so find the y dx. So we have y is equal to log square root of x minus 1. So remember, this is a function of a function. This is a function of a function. So we are going to apply that. First, we say let u be equal to square root of x minus 1. Let u be equal to square root of x minus 1. So that implies y will be equal to what? Ln u, right? Y will be equal to ln u. So first we find, remember, chain rules. The rule of chain rule is that the y dx will be equal to the y du times the u dx. So from what we have here now, the y du, y is equals to the y du equals to 1 all over u. The u dx, so let's differentiate u with respect to x. The u dx. So the first thing that you have to know about this u is equals to square root of x minus 1. It's the same thing as x minus 1 raised to power what? Half, right? So then you can use polynomial, you can differentiate this as a polynomial function. So then this will be equals to, bring this half here, half into bracket x minus 1 raised to power half minus 1, right? So then we differentiate the function that we have inside the bracket, parentheses, right? Multiply by derivative of that is x is what? 1. The derivative of minus 1 is 0, so it's just because multiplied by 1. So that implies the u dx will be equals to half into bracket x minus 1, half minus 1, that's what? Minus half, multiplied by 1. So from what we have here now, this is going to be equals to 1 over 2 times, now back to rule of indices. Remember, from rule of indices, a raised to power n is equals to, a raised to power minus m is equals to 1 over a raised to power m. So in this case now, use the whole of x minus 1 into bracket as your a minus m. A minus m. So that means it will be equals to, from here now, so implies the y dx, that is, if you apply this, so implies the y dx will be equals to 1 over 2 x minus 1, so that x minus 1 raised to power minus half will now be equals to 1 over x minus 1 raised to power half. That is the same thing as a raised to power minus m is equals to 1 over a raised to power m. So then implies this is your a, this is your m. That is 1 over x raised to power half. M is half, x minus y is a. Got it? I hope you've gotten this. I'm trying to break it down because of the kind of channel that I'm trying to like go that low, like in terms of the elementary solution, because of the channel, the means by which you are learning this. So because you know, in a normal classroom settings, you'll be able to ask, okay, how did I come about this? So but you'll not be able to ask in this. That's why I'm doing everything like in detail, step by step, how I arrived to each of those things. So that means from here, the y dx will be equals to 1 over 2. Remember that x minus 1 raised to power half the same thing as square root of x minus 1. 1 over 2 root x minus 1. So that is the derivative of the u dx. Sorry, that's not the word dx. So this is the u dx. Don't mix things together. This is just the u dx. From here, the u dx. So these are the u dx. So now our dy dx. Our dy dx will be equals to dy du. Remember, our dy du is equals to 1 over u. You can backward this video and check that I've rubbed it. Multiply by the u dx, that's 1 over 2 square root of x minus 1. So this will be equals to, but don't forget that your u, what's your u? U is equals to what? X minus 1. So substitute that. That means we have 1 over square root of x minus 1 multiplied by 1 over 2 square root of x minus 1. So that means we have root x multiplied by root x. Remember the rule of sword under math, right? As you must not forget all this. So remember in the rule of sword, root a, let me write that. So from here now, we said the y dx is equal to 1 over this times this. So remember from the rule of sword, root x times root x is equal to x, right? Why? Because root x is the same thing as x raised to the power half times x raised to the power half. Apply the rule of indices. When you have base, that is of the same, when you have the same base, then you add the exponents together. Rule of indices: x raised to the power half times x raised to the power half is equal to x raised to the power half plus half. Half plus half is equal to what? 1. So then you're going to have x raised to the power what? 1, right? So from here now, so that means, look at this. Apply this basic rule to this complex, what you have here. Square root of x minus 1 multiplied by square root of x minus 1 will be equal to what? X minus 1. You have that the y dx will be equal to 1 over 2 square root of x minus 1 times square root of x minus 1 will be equal to what? X minus 1. So you can decide to open the bracket, and that is the derivative of that function. So